Happy super full moon in Leo. This full moon becomes exact at 2:33 a.m. New York time on Sunday, February 9th, which is 8:33 Greenwich Mean Time. This moon is the fourth closest to the Earth of all the moons this year in 2020, making it a borderline supermoon. The closer the moon is to the Earth, the more powerful its physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual effects are. Leo is the most childish sign of the zodiac, bringing with it an air of freedom, play, and unabashedness. It is an aspect that we all carry within, though unfortunately most of us forget it is there as we journey from childhood to our teen years and into various stages of adulthood. As adults, we can become so disconnected with how it feels to be a child. Lately, I found myself recalling how amazing and adventurous everything was when I was a kid. How my friend and I would spend hours building a snow fort in the front yard, trying to make a better snow fort than the kid 4 houses down who had the luxury of having his older brother and dad to help him. I'm so grateful to have grown up in a place with abundant snow. I'm so grateful for my dogs as well, as they bring me into that childlike consciousness constantly. Everything is exciting to a dog. Like me, my dog also gets super excited when there's fresh snow. He adores running outside in circles, chasing squirrels, and then barking at them when they run up the trees. In the summertime, he entertains himself for hours at a time by chasing them. He has so much fun chasing those squirrels. One of the many irreplaceable gifts that dogs give to humans is helping us adults to learn to play again, to be present, and to ground to the earth. Most adults in today's Western world have become disconnected from their inner children. Society is structured in a way that most people don't have time to connect with their inner child, as they're too busy just trying to earn enough money to survive. And many of those who do make more than enough to survive end up finding themselves lost in illusions like gambling, alcohol, drugs, and ungrounded sex. In fact, one of the reasons that teens and adults find themselves so enamored with those things is that it gives them an outlet to play. Note, I'm not saying that there's anything inherently wrong with gambling, alcohol, certain herbal substances that may be classified as drugs or sex. It's just about how they're used. We can find ways to play while being totally sober and while not engaging in sexual activity, just like a child or animal can. We can run around in circles with our dogs. We can make silly faces at our partner or our kids. We can make jokes. We can go for a snowy walk in the woods. We can take a family adventure to the ocean. We can play catch with a Nerf ball. We can go camping, put away our phones, and play board games. We can sing silly songs. Doing an inner child meditation would be a great idea around this full moon. I like to take myself in my mind to a beautiful forest scene and really sink into this setting. I then imagine my inner child approaching from a distance, and I ask him what it is he needs from me that I haven't been giving him. I embrace him, I hug him, and I make sure he feels like I am there for him and I am listening to him. If you've never done an inner child meditation before, you may find that your inner child shows up at the age that you feel like you've experienced the most trauma and abuse. This is because whatever basic physical or emotional needs that weren't met by your caretakers at that age are what you then spend the rest of your lifetime healing. The things that people say or do that trigger you most directly relate to those unmet needs of your inner child. As an awakening being, you now have the opportunity to heal your inner child and experience the liberation of being a fully integrated, sovereign adult consciousness. To do this, we first must get to know the voice of the inner child and identify what needs he or she has. When the inner child's needs haven't been met and then are continuously ignored during adulthood, the inner child must find a way to get the conscious attention of the operator of the consciousness. You. So the inner child will put on a scary mask, so to speak, and become the shadow. The shadow self can trigger you to act out in the darkest of ways, or even to attract people to treat you in nasty ways. The shadow self may sabotage your dreams and make it difficult for you to move forward. The good news is that by listening to the voice of the inner child feels seen, heard, and acknowledged, and thus doesn't need to morph into the shadow to get your attention. When we consciously make the choice to honor those needs that the inner child has let us know he or she has, we can make rapid leaps forward in our spiritual development. Here are some questions to ask yourself to help you get into deeper communion with your inner child. I'd recommend journaling on these if you have the time. If I had to guess, what would my inner child say about my life as it is now? Would he or she be happy about it? If I had to guess, what would my inner child say about my current living environment? Would he or she be happy about it? If I had to guess, what would my inner child say about my current job or career? Would he or she be happy about it? If I had to guess, what kinds of things have I been neglecting to give my inner child that he or she needs? Which activities or creative endeavors from my childhood have I neglected lately? Have I been taking life too seriously? Do I let myself fall into the trap of the seriousness of those around me? In what ways am I still being mean or nasty to myself? How can I stop being mean or nasty to myself? Am I okay with failing? How could I learn to be okay and forgive myself when I fail or mess up? Do I forgive myself instantly, or do I hold things against myself? How could I practice instant self-forgiveness? Do I tend to let others' negative emotions take me over? How could I avoid this pitfall? Am I okay looking silly or stupid to others? Does what others think of me really actually matter? Am I truly honoring my deepest desires? Past relationships coming up for healing and clearing the way for new ones. We have a very interesting conjunction with Lilith, Chiron, and Venus in Aries. Both asteroid Lilith, which is known as the Black Moon in astrology, and Chiron, which is known as the Wounded Healer, are associated with our karma and repressed feelings. Together with Venus in the cardinal fire sign of Aries, it creates an aspect where karmic relationships are likely to come to the forefront, especially those of the romantic type. Aries is the Ace of Wands in the tarot. It represents the kinetic energy needed to transform potential energy into creation. Thus, during this aspect, there may be an opportunity for karmic clearing of certain relationships in order to make room for these relationships to enter their next stages of evolution, or to make room for a brand new relationship to occur. Karmic relationships are not only romantic. In fact, the most common way in which we experience karmic relationships is through our immediate family members. Put simply, a karmic relationship means there is significant past life history between your soul and the other soul who is dressed up as the character that you have had that relationship with in this lifetime. For the people who have caused you the most trouble, pain, and deep emotions in your life, you can be almost sure that there is a past life karma there, especially if it's a blood family member. For every karmic relationship, there is most certainly a soul contract in place. The soul contract is negotiated and agreed upon by the souls involved before birth. The soul contract outlines the main themes that will underlie the relationship. These themes are intended to help each soul move along in a direction towards further evolution on their respective individual soul journeys. The souls might desire to balance the karma or alchemize the karma into wisdom and positive creations, or both, meaning both balancing and alchemizing. The natural trajectory of all karmic relationships is toward resolution. The souls likely intentionally created the karma in the first place, so of course they're going to want to resolve it. Most of us will go through several karmic romantic relationships in our lifetime. They are generally characterized by attachment and pain. It doesn't mean these relationships won't contain good times, too, as they most certainly will. However, what you will likely end up remembering in your emotional body is the pain you felt during the relationship or after it ended. There's always something karmic playing out in these types of relationships. And, one of my God-given gifts as a psychic and a healer is I'm so accurately able to read karmic relationships, both family members and romantic partners, as well as friends or business partners. And so if you're interested in knowing more about that, about what happened in a past life between myself and this person, and why is it causing what it's causing, and how can we heal this and alchemize this, that's my ballpark. Like, that's my specialty. That's my sweet spot. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, the thing to do would to go to my website, which I'll give you at the end, or it's in the description below, and check out my soul plan readings, because those are where I will read this sort of stuff for you. And with this Chiron, Lilith, and Venus conjunction, it is possible you could hear from an ex and that there could be some reconciliation. However, it's more likely that you won't hear from them, and you'll be better off utilizing this energy to willfully and consciously clear out this residual energy, the residual emotional pain that's left over from that relationship within yourself. So the opportunity is here to do that clearing within you. And how can you do this? By forgiving yourself and others, and making the decision to truly believe the truth that life worked out exactly in your highest good, whether you knew it at the time or not. When you're still buying the illusion on some level that something went wrong in your life, your body and brain become stuck in a loop of negativity that holds down your spirit from being able to fully fuel you and allow you to make significant strides forward in all areas of your life. Not fully moving on from an ex-partner could indirectly cause problems in your health or career, and it will most certainly cause problems in your future romantic endeavors. Moving on fully from an ex-partner doesn't mean that you can't still love them in one sense. You can. And it doesn't mean you can't be grateful for the times you spent with them. But moving on does mean that you have withdrawn your energy from the relationship and thus cleared the way for something new to come to you. It often means you need to have little or no contact with the person, at least until you no longer feel hurt, jealous, angry, or depressed when thinking of that person. I know many of you are still, in a situation where you have to see your ex because of the kids, and if you're in this sort of situation, I would advise that unless you've reached a point with your ex where it's a supportive friendship, it's an actual supportive friendship, which can happen. It's rare, but it can happen. And it feels good, and you enjoy each other's presence, and you don't find yourself being triggered. If you're not at that point, it's still probably best to avoid as much contact as possible while still being a good parent. And I know that's a really weird and difficult thing to toe. That's a difficult line to toe, but it's only going to serve you to do that. And to, there's no amount of inner work that will be able to, and I see a lot of my clients trying to do this, trying to, heal themselves so much that when they have to deal with their ex, they won't get triggered. And it works to an extent. It does help, but it'll never really solve the issue, and you'll always end up still feeling just taken aback energetically in some way. And really the only solution is just to limit your contact. Limit your contact and still be a good parent, and still explain to your kids whenever they ask, why the situation is that it is as it is, and as they get older, they'll understand more and more. It's unfortunate if you have young kids and you're in this sort of situation, they're not going to understand. But they will when they grow up. They'll begin to understand. Then when they're adults, they'll look back and they'll be able to understand. So, in the end, it'll be okay. It's just tough for a while. And make sure your boundaries are strong, where you're able to move on with your life in all ways, regardless of how that ex is involved in your life. You, as I said, you fulfill your commitments to your children and everything else you need to do, and you be cordial, and you work on yourself enough where you're not being triggered around that person, but you still need to limit your contact. Until, again, if you get to a point with them where it feels great, then that's beautiful, and you're lucky, and you're lucky. You're one of the few that can make that work. And if you can do that, then absolutely cultivate a friendship, and it'll be great for the kids too, right? But most people aren't at that stage, so that's why I just wanted to uh, put that in here as some advice to those of you who are in that situation. And not fully moving on emotionally and energetically from an ex-partner is like keeping a rotting, beat-up car in your driveway, and that old car is sitting there, and it's blocking the driveway and making sure there's no room for a new car. Let the old car get taken away to the junkyard, donate it to 1877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids. If you're in the New York area, if you're from New York City or anywhere around New York City, you know what I mean. It's a dumb radio commercial, but donate your old car to whatever junkyards in your area with whatever jingle they got on the radio, and make room for a new car. Go to the dealership and get a new one. And this is just a metaphor for making room for a new relationship. Or if you're not ready yet for a new relationship, or you don't want a new relationship yet, that's fine. It's just making room for um, a better you. It's just making room for a better you to be able to inhabit the body that you see in the mirror. Why not, right? But until you get that old junker taken away, donated, right? It ain't gonna happen. And if you want to make yourself laugh, think about this. Think about you're letting go of the old junker completely, so it can be donated to someone else who wants it. Maybe someone wants to buy the car off Craigslist, right? So maybe for your ex, there's another partner that will be better for them, right? It will be better for them. And I'm not saying your ex is necessarily an old junky car, but for a lot of people on the spiritual journey, they've been through that sort of relationship. And you know what I'm talking about if you're hearing this and you're smiling or laughing, right? You've been through a relationship where you gave it your all and you evolved and the other person didn't. And a lot of people, especially empathic women, empathic men too, but more empathic women even, they have trouble fully letting go of that. And when they finally do, it's like a huge step forward. It's a huge leap forward in their consciousness, and they just feel so much better. And then they can attract a healed guy, And it goes the same for the other way around. Unhealed men are going to attract unhealed women, and unhealed women are going to attract unhealed men. Healed men will attract healed women, and vice versa. And that's why I want to talk a little bit about the twin flame as well. If you're someone who's desiring to attract your true twin flame, as I am, I'm single, and it's one of the ultimate goals of my life to merge with my true twin. And so here's some advice. Talk to your twin flame now before you meet them. Before you meet them in the physical body. Just as you can talk to your spirit guides and loved ones who've crossed over simply by intending to connect with them and speaking out loud or in your head, you can talk to your future twin flame the same way. Personally, I like to speak to my future twin flame by speaking to the full moon. I tell her that I can't wait to meet her, and I'm doing my best to get on my highest path so that I can meet her when the time is right. And I trust that she's doing what she needs to evolve and get on her highest path, so when the time is right, we will finally meet. And I find that so encouraging, because I know that this is how things work. Things happen energetically. There's a template that happens for really important things in your life before it happens in the physical. So if you want to create that faster, when you're talking to your twin flame before you meet them, not only are you putting that intention out to the universe, and that law of attraction is going to bring that to you quicker, you're also giving yourself motivation. You're giving yourself motivation to succeed and excel and heal, because think about this. Who do you want to be when you run into your future twin flame? Are you comfortable running into your future twin flame right now? And that can be a really uncomfortable question. Are you comfortable running into them right now and saying, hey, What are you doing? Yeah, it's a free day for me. Let's go for coffee or let's go for tea. I just feel this incredible connection with you. It's like we know each other. Yeah, you feel that too. Yeah, let's talk and let's spend an hour together and chat. And then you never know. It ends up being, your partner for life. But are you comfortable meeting that person right now? Or are you not ready yet? Because you still got a lot of work to do yourself. And if you're like that, and that's okay, if you don't feel totally ready yet, then this gives you motivation. This gives you motivation to dive back into your spiritual practice, to your meditation practice, to your books, and to your seminars, and to work on yourself. To me, there's no bigger motivation. And pay attention, astrologically speaking, with this Lilith, Chiron, and Venus conjunction here. Pay attention to any romantic prospects that come into your life over the next 2 weeks, because there could be something there. And, if you're interested in them or there's some interest, tell them, this conjunction is an Aries, the fire sign, so we want to do. We don't want to just sit back. If we make a connection over the next 2 weeks, we want to do something about it. We want to say, hey, let's make plans. Let's go for coffee. Let's go for a walk. All right? Don't miss out on a potentially life-changing opportunity. Last thing to tell you, lovely people, Mercury is entering its shadow phase. We have the first Mercury retrograde of the new decade. Exciting stuff. Mercury is currently, at least on this full moon, in its pre-shadow stage, about to be entering into its shadow stage shortly after the moon becomes exact, about a day after. Some people have different definitions of pre-shadow and shadow, but it's generally about a day after is the consensus. So this coming week, it's really wise to be mindful that communications issues are likely to occur, because the most issues are likely to occur when Mercury's in the shadow. It's meaning it's slowing down or just starting to accelerate after a station. So it's getting ready to stop. It's getting ready to station, and thus the effects become really amplified. So for the next week, just pay attention. Communication issues can occur. Travel issues can occur. Electronics will be more likely than usual to malfunction. If you're the type of person that tends to, get all sorts of kundalini energy coming up your spine, or downloading some sort of ascension codes, and you're holding your iPhone and the iPhone just goes berserk and starts showing weird colors and grids and stuff, and you got to go to the Apple store and get a new one. It's more likely to happen during Mercury retrograde. It's happened to me a few times for sure. And hopefully it doesn't happen again, because that's why I got Apple Care, though. If you're an iPhone user, Apple Care is the best, because when it happens, you don't have to splurge on a $500 new phone. It's like $70 to get a new one. So, my advice during Mercury retrograde, especially during the shadow phase, is to be extra intentional with your life. Set morning intentions for how you want your day to go and how you want to communicate with people throughout the day. Mercury retrograde, despite its warnings, is a great opportunity to practice being a good listener and to practice clearly voicing your needs and desires. I am wishing you a jubilant full moon in Leo. With love, Matthew John. If you're not familiar with who I am an internationally known spiritual teacher, spiritual mentor, speaker, intuitive healer, and quantum energy healer working directly with the Ascended Masters. I offer inspirational and educational articles and videos on my website, which is youaredivinehuman.org, all spelled out, youaredivinehuman.org. And I also offer powerful private sessions worldwide via phone and Skype. And if you are interested in working with me, what I'm offering now is to set people up on my very popular spiritual mentoring program to get started either the second half of February or in March. And I'm just going to give you a little outline of what the program is. There's a 4, 5, or 6 session option with the package, and there's even some packages that go longer than 6 sessions once you complete those. In the 4 session package, you get 4 90-minute plus sessions, including an extended soul plan reading, which, like I said before, I'm reading your karmic relationships, I'm reading your life plan, I'm reading your soul lessons, your future, your highest possible future, even your most likely future based on your current timeline. I'm reading for you any lessons that you're not aware of that have to do with past experiences, why something happened in the past. It's a really comprehensive reading, and it's very unique. I don't know if you'll find this type of reading anywhere else out there. Second session, we do a quantum energy healing session, a soul retrieval, an inner child healing, and a cord cutting ceremony. And in the quantum energy healing, we're connecting in with the Ascended Master Realm and a group of energy healing angels that work with me to work on all of your chakras, all of your main chakras, and to clean up your aura completely. Third session, intuitive nutrition reading and a chakra scan. And this is a medical intuitive reading, and I'm connecting in with the guides to take a look at your body and to read both the physical, mental, and emotional root causes of any chronic illnesses that may be manifesting in your body. And some people are in great health, and that's awesome, and I wish everyone was in great health. But if you're in great health already, then the reading will be more focused on optimizing your health, anything you may need to look out for in the future, optimizing your belief systems to suit your health, and optimizing your diet. And of course, any supplements, any herbs or nutritional supplements, vitamins that may be really helpful for your body to help you move forward physically and mentally. And with that, you get an 8 to 10 page report in your email within 2 weeks, and you get a 2-page report with the shock report as well. Fourth session, we do a Starseed discovery session, which is super fun. You'll find out exactly where you're from in the stars if you are a Starseed. Most people listening to this are. There are other possibilities, but regardless, in this session, you'll find out where you're from. If you're a Starseed, if you come from this galaxy, another galaxy, if you're a new soul on Earth, you'll find out exactly where you're from. If you are from the stars, you get to take a journey there, an astral journey, which is super, super fun. And you get to meet your galactic guides and take a look around at your home planet or your place of origin. And you bring back all sorts of wisdom that can be life-changing. And you also get my very popular webinars, Putting the Past in the Past, Mastering Your Intuition, and Spiritual Hygiene, Cord Cutting, and Grounding 101. You get all that in the 4-session package, 5-session package. You get all that plus a 2-hour past life regression session where you're traveling in the astral plane to the usually 2 or 3 of the most relevant past lives, to experience them very vividly, and then to travel to the space in between lives and meet with your spirit guides to be able to interpret what the meaning was of those lives and how it applies to your current soul lessons. So we try to relate it all to the types of soul lessons that I read for you in the first session, the soul plan reading. Package C, the 6-session package, you get all that plus a 1-hour, 10-minute future life progression session, which you get to take an astral journey forward in time in this lifetime to experience your highest possible future firsthand at different points along the timeline, for example, 1, 5, 10, 20 years out. And you see it very vividly, which is just super helpful for knowing where you're headed and what the possibilities are for you. And Package C, you also get 4 more webinars, A Deeper Level of Forgiveness, Awakening the Divine Masculine, Navigating the Dark Night of the Soul, and Dissolving the Ego webinars. All of the webinars are between 90 minutes and 2 hours, and they're all just jam-packed with tools, activations, and information. So you can check out the options for the packages on my website. Again, it's yourdivinehuman.org. Scroll your mouse over private sessions and go down to the first tab under it. It says Spiritual Mentoring, Awakening Coaching. Click on that and you can read over the options. I do also offer each and every one of those types of sessions that I mentioned individually, and there are different options for individual sessions based on the length of time and your budget. So if the package wouldn't work for you, then you can go to the other tabs under private sessions or look on the front page of my website for the different options as far as individual sessions. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I've worked with people in over 50 countries, which is awesome. I love working with people internationally as well as here in the U.S. So it doesn't matter where you are. We'll find a way to connect, whether it's over phone, Skype, or WhatsApp. And if you have any questions for me, either about the packages, about the full moon, about the private session options, about anything else on my website, about any of my talks, if you have a personal question, a brief personal question about your life, feel free to ask it. If it's going to require reading, I will tell you I would need you to book a reading. But if it's a simple question or just some general advice, I'll answer. Yeah. And any questions you have, the easiest way to get in contact with me is to go to my website, youaredivinehuman.org. Go to the bottom right corner of the screen. There's a little tab that pops up that says Matthew John. Have questions, ask Matthew. Click on that tab. Type in your question. Make sure you type in your correct email address. It goes to my email, and I will get back to you. I try to get back to people as soon as possible. Obviously, I'm super busy working with people around the world and writing and all of that, so sometimes it might take 12 or 24 hours, but I always get back to people. Okay? So, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this transmission. I hope you feel uplifted. I hope you feel like you got some clarity about your life and about this full moon and what it means, and I just hope you're feeling just happy. This is the Leo full moon, so regardless of whatever you took from this, just be happy. Just smile, laugh. I hope maybe one or two of my jokes also made you laugh. But regardless, be happy. Leo full moon. And I can't wait to talk to you with another transmission coming up in 2 weeks on the next new moon. With love, this has been Matthew John.